Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So how do you usually practice to playing a keyboard?
I usually practice with my teacher in my home.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back to MTsB podcast channel. Kita nih cakep. Hello everyone, I'm Evelyn Dian as the host for today.
And I'm Shafiya as Evelyn partners.
And we are from 8.1. Okay, so Shafiya, do you kind of feel like the weather is getting pretty extreme recently?
Yes, I actually kind of feel like the alternations between the hot weather and the rainy weather is too intense. Usually January and February should be the peak of rainy weather, right? But we're only feeling like burning in here, so it makes me really confused.
Well, to answer your confusion, I believe that particular problem has something to do with the climate change.
Okay, so I guess we're going to talk about the climate change for today.
Yes, you're right. But to be more specific, we are going to talk about the young contribution to prevent the climate change.
Well, that sounds pretty interesting. But before we start, can you please explain to us what is the definitions of climate change?
Sure. So basically, the climate change refers to the long-term shift in temperature and weather pattern. And apparently, our activities as human is the main cause of climate change. People burn fossil fuels and convert land from forest to agriculture. Since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, people have burned fossil fuels more and more, and it produces carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas.
But why is it called as a greenhouse gas? Do you have any specific reason?
It's called greenhouse gas because it produces greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is make the earth warmer, just as greenhouse is warmer than its surrounding. And then the carbon dioxide is also the main cause of human-induced climate change. It stays in the atmosphere for a very long time. Other substances like nitrous oxide also stays in the atmosphere for a very long time. Other substances only produce short-term effect, but not all substances produce warming.
Okay, so thank you for giving us a detailed explanations about the climate change. So based on your definitions, I think that climate change is a pretty complex problem. Am I right?
Yes, you're right, Safia. Climate change is a very complex problem, which all people around the world have been experiencing the climate impact in diverse ways. Climate change can affect our ability to grow, food, health, and work. Some of us are more vulnerable about the climate impact, such as people living in a small island and another developing countries.
Wow, okay. So not only in certain regions, but the climate change will affect every area of the earth.
Yes, even including Indonesia. This I'm pretty sure that must be the reason why we're feeling so hot during in this rainy season.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. It's also worthy to remember that Jakarta has won the World Worst Quality Index several times, and specifically on 22 June 2022, the DKI Jakarta has become the region with the worst air quality in the world with a score of 163, if I'm not wrong, which is severely unhealthy. And even in the G20 presidency, the topic of climate change has also raised as one of the three priority issues. Therefore, I think that this is such a relevant topic for us as a teenager to know and understand deeper the importance of preventing climate change.
Okay, why do you think so? Is it that really important for young people to prevent the climate change?
Of course, it's very important because we have actually seen, breathed, and felt the effects of climate change. But however, when we see the problems around us, usually it's very easy for someone, especially young people like us, to feel helpless, to feel like we're unable to do anything to solve the problem that we see on a daily basis. But when more young people care about the climate change, then the solutions that are put into it could also be more effective because climate change is a very complex problem that could only be solved together. So whether you like it or not, we must spend our time at least a little bit to learn how to prevent it so that we can be involved in the process as well and erase the assumptions in our mind that climate change is something that is outside of our control.
Okay, well, I agree with your opinion and that we have already talked about the importance of preventing the climate change. Then I think this is the right time to tell the audience about how to prevent it as young people.
Okay, then I'll go first. Okay, so first of all, we shouldn't be afraid to make our voices heard. Even though we're young, remind yourself that every one of us has a role to play. Don't be scared to get actively involved in discussion groups or dialogues where we can address the problems, brainstorm potential solutions, and make plans to put those solutions into actions.
And secondly, we can adopt our lifestyle changes to prevent the climate, well-being, and encourage others to do the same. There are a lot of ways to adopt our lifestyle, such as we can try to use public transportation, walk, or ride a bike instead of going by car. Then you can buy food locally and eat less animal source and more plant-based. Then you must buy food and clothing to electronic, and then purchase well made and durable clothing too, and then avoid fast fashion. And last, you can talk to your family about how to reduce the energy use, such as you can unplugging the power cables that not in use.
And thirdly, we must spread awareness and engage with other people as well. For example, bring what you have learned about climate change, sustainable lifestyles, and their impact on health and well-being into your conversations with friends, family, partners, and decision makers, among others, then share it into social media. Also, we can also create our own online networks and platforms to engage with other young people as well.
Okay, we can do the 4R rules. They are reviews, reduce, reuse, and recycle. First, you can reduce wasteful and polluting product. You can reduce by buying items that contain single-use plastic or items that individually package. And then you can reduce. You can take your own canvas bag instead of using disposable one that given to you. With that, you can reduce the amount of plastic that is very contaminating. And then you can reuse. Instead of throwing them away, let's see every plastic bottle with a little bit of imagination. I'm sure you can come up with new fun and exciting uses for them. And last is you can recycle. You can recycle things that you don't need anymore so that you can reuse again.
Lastly, we can try to join an organizations or try to participate in programs like planting trees. For example, we can take an example from the Sispala organization. So basically, Sispala is an organization of nature lovers which is generally located at every school. It is categorized as one of the extracurricular activities at school, which is carried out by a lot of nature-loving students. The examples of the actions that they take are planting plants and trees around the neighborhood, cleaning the environment, separating dry and wet waste, processing wet waste into compost, or putting it into biopores.
Okay, we have so many ways to prevent the climate change now.
Yep, that's right. Okay, so I think this is the end of our discussions about young contributions to prevent the climate change. Hopefully, these discussions can give people a realizations about the importance to prevent the climate change and persuade them to start using their voices to determine the future of this planet.
Okay. Thank you for watching and see you again. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.